welcome to this conversation, Bitter Fruit, Art and War in Afghanistan. This is a conversation that is part of the Georgetown Literary Festival 2021, Microcosmos. We are really privileged to have with us today Mr. Saleh Sepas, who is a director of theatre, a playwright, and a founder actually of a theatre company that is based here in Kuala Lumpur called the Parastu Theatre. He is also the director of the Refugee Festival, and he is a program coordinator with the Gatanio Foundation, humanitarian organization. Welcome, Saleh. We're so privileged to have you today. Our conversation today is really going to look at the impact of war on art in Afghanistan. Saleh is from Afghanistan, and Saleh is one of the rare artists who's actually had the experience of being trained in Afghanistan in performing arts, particularly in theatre. Saleh entered university in Kabul University in the Fine Arts Department to study theatre in 2001 during the fall of the Taliban. Many years later now, 20 years later, the Taliban have retaken power in Afghanistan, and we are going to explore the impact that the years of war and the many, many decades of conflict and struggle and displacement have had on the psyche of artists and the lives of artists in Afghanistan, as well as Saleh's own experience in the arts world in Afghanistan, building his profession as a writer, as a theatre director, and also his experience here as a refugee artist who has come to Malaysia to seek refuge but continues to pursue his arts career here as well. Saleh, we're so happy to have you today.
Thank you so much, Lilianne, and thanks Georgetown Literary Festival. I'm very happy today we talk about the situation of art and culture in Afghanistan under the war, actually.
Yes.
So yeah, we can give some information about the art and culture and artists during the Taliban rule in Afghanistan. Yes.
So I think, Saleh, to start this exploration of this topic, the Taliban took power just about 2 months ago in Afghanistan again after 20 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is having an impact on art and on artists. Could you tell us a little bit about what kind of impact the Taliban takeover is having?
Yeah. Unfortunately, no one thinking in Afghanistan, in the whole world, the Taliban come very fast and make role again in Afghanistan. But that things happen in Afghanistan, and many people surprised and shocked, especially the human rights activists and artist people, and some people, they have some activity with media, and they support the Afghan community with art, with culture, with knowledge. So right now the situation in Afghanistan is really horrible because the Taliban, they cannot accept totally the art, all genres, arts like music, theater, film, and many things. They cannot accept. They said this is not Islamic culture.
I see.
This is the Taliban ideology. They thinking this is like a non-Muslim culture coming from another country, and this is like haram. We say a word like haram.
Yeah.
So that's why some people, they have activity about art and culture. They really directly in danger. So you remember the first time in 2001, 1996 and 2001?
Yeah.
The Taliban destroyed the big Buddha involved in Afghanistan in Bamiyan province.
Yes, of course, the Bamiyan Buddha.
Yes, exactly. This is the one thing. In this year, when they arrive and come to Afghanistan, the first time in Kandahar province, they killed a very popular artist in Kandahar. He was very great comedian artist.
Oh, yes.
The Taliban arrest him from his house and then shoot.
It's terrible.
When they came to the Kabul, the capital city in Afghanistan, They also attacked to many art centers. They destroyed the equipment, and they closed and gave directly warning for artists. Now I know many artists in Afghanistan, they lives in hide. They cannot say I'm at home, and they cannot say about their location, especially about the women artists. This is really horrible, because two things with Taliban ideology. The first, they have problem with women, especially with that women, they are active in society, in community. And another thing, women artists.
Yes.
In this 20 years, many women artists, they was very active, and they support the Afghan art and culture with music, with art, with films, and also another artist. But some of just few number of them, they can leave already Afghanistan and go to another country, supported by some international community. But many Afghan artists still they stay in Afghanistan. But two things: first, they cannot do any art activity. They stop totally. The first thing, their life directly in danger, and they cannot say where they are. And I'm sure when they stay at home, they also scared from the Taliban. Maybe they attack and they arrest them. So for now, the culture and art situation totally is shut down.
Oh, it's very sad.
Yeah, no any activity about art and culture in Afghanistan. I think any country don't have any art and culture is like died society.
Yes.
It's
exactly.
no have any value. So this is the real situation in Afghanistan. Is like everything is shut down and died society. And without art, I'm sure that the people, the community will be very sad, and no hope, no anything for like make happy themselves.
Yes.
So yeah, this is the situation.
This is exactly what I was going to ask you about. It's you know, the kind of impact that basically restriction of art will have on a country. You know, I mean, how is it possible for a country to conceptualize its future when you limit that imagination? You know, so what kind of impact do you think it will have, particularly on the younger generation, who are going to grow up, you know, in a climate where they are told they cannot express themselves, and they don't have any avenues to express themselves through art?
It's very sad. I told you, if the community, the country don't have art, don't support the culture, it's very no value. For young generation, it's really hard and difficult situation. For example, they cannot go to concert, no any concert now. But before Taliban, is very big concerts happen to Afghanistan, and the media also support the art. It was very important. But right now, the young generation just try to leave country because they don't have any opportunity in Afghanistan. Not just about the art and culture, about the education and another knowledge as well.
Yes.
So especially the another ethnic and races, they are not from the Taliban ethnic. They scared. They cannot go to university. If they go, they cannot learn the skill and knowledge with their language.
Right.
So Afghanistan have two national language, Pashto and Persian. So many people in Afghanistan, their mother tongue is Persian, but they cannot study in mother tongue.
Right.
And something is very limitation for young generation, especially about the culture. If they cannot learn like some skill about art and culture, they cannot watch the movie, cannot go to watch the theater, it's really hard, and I'm sure they feel they are in jail.
Yes, I'm sure.
Because the first time Taliban had rule in Afghanistan, I was in Afghanistan. Just one story about the Taliban on the first time they had rule in Afghanistan. Taliban had many checkpoints during the city and area. every checkpoint of Taliban, they ask, do you have any we call the recording music, very small, they play the music.
Yes, like a cassette tape.
Yes,
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 these
yes,
cassette tapes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So Taliban took that from the people and from the driver and open it and put the tree, the branch of tree.
I see.
Yeah, I saw many times like that. The tree was the recording of roll of the music.
Oh, wow.
And it's really annoyed me.
Yeah.
Because they really want to push the Afghan, especially the young generation and the women, follow the Taliban ideology. But this is not possible for Afghan people, especially for young generation, because we are not agree. The people is not agree with Taliban ideology. This is not correct for us. That's why it's very difficult situation for all people, especially for young generation and ladies.
Yeah. So what do you think, Saleh, between, you grew up actually, before you entered university, Afghanistan was under the Taliban. So you actually have the experience of growing up under Taliban rule, seeing the kinds of ways in which they were limiting culture, destroying culture, but yet you still chose to study art when the Taliban fell. So what was the experience of Afghan people in terms of learning about culture and art during this time, in between the first Taliban administration and then when it fell and now? Was there a lot of development of art? What kind of art were...
In 20 years.
Yeah, in these 20 years.
Yeah, I remember in 2001 when I joined for the study in Kabul University, the situation of fine arts faculty, I mean the building, is really sad. Half of the building destroyed it with bomb. Half of the building was okay, but no any equipment, no any chair and table. It's like a very scary place because during the Taliban rule in the first time, the Faculty of Fine Arts was place for escaping of another student in Kabul University. Totally, it was shut down. The art was shut down. And when we joined to Faculty of Fine Arts, on that time we was just 13 students. 13. For one country is like 34 million people.
My goodness.
Just 13 students about art. I think this is really horrible.
And it was 13 in different types of art?
Yes.
So how many in theater? You were studying
in theater, I think it's 6 people.
6 of you, wow.
6 of you, yeah. Many challenge. We had many challenge, and the method of study also was really old, and also the people, also some professors also they didn't believe the power of art. We lost the motivation about art. And also in community, many people, they told us art is not important. Please change your subject and go to another faculty. But I really love the art, especially the cinema and theater, because I believe on that time as well we can work with people with this type of art. But when we finished the study in Kabul University, many my classmates, friends, they changed the subject. Like they active about the media and journalists, and some of them still they work on the street, like sell something, or they open the shop for themselves. So in 2001 until 2004, the situation about art was not okay, very bad. But many Afghan come back from another country in Afghanistan, they support the Afghan art.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and also the media, especially some media, they really focus and support the culture and art. Then the situation changed. After that, the space was very open, and many young generation follow the art and the culture. I mean, in that 20 years, the situation of art was very good. Like, go ahead and growing the art growing. And it was very good, but now the Afghan community and people go back to 100 years ago. So this is really sad. I mean, the Afghan people lost everything, especially about the right, education, art, and culture.
Right. But even if we talk about, 100 years ago, as you said, Saleh, in fact, there has been also traditional art in Afghanistan. And, Afghanistan has a long tradition, especially of poetry and oral history. So not even just 100 years ago, even before that, going back hundreds of years. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, what did the Taliban's, what was their attitude towards this? And have they succeeded in, de-linking people to that tradition? You mentioned earlier also the fact that there's people of Afghanistan are very diverse. People have different languages, people come from different ethnic, backgrounds. So they also have their own traditions, right? With their families and their communities. What has the impact of the Taliban been on that? And have they succeeded in erasing that actually quite rich history of art and literature in Afghanistan?
Afghanistan actually has a very, very traditional art. It's very powerful, very nice, and very powerful. Before the Taliban rule, also many people in the village and the different provinces in Afghanistan, they support and doing the traditional art in Afghanistan, especially the women. This is
especially women.
The story of traditional art in Afghanistan is very fantastic and amazing. I know some lady in Afghanistan, they cannot read and write. Really, they cannot. But they, like we say, ghazal. They write ghazal.
I see, they write ghazal.
And some poem. It's really powerful. It's when you listen, you can see the image of that poem.
Right.
Different area in Afghanistan, they have different traditional art. For example, for Hazara people, they have dambura. This is really traditional.
The instrument.
And the hard situation also, they they support themselves with art, with dambura. They make poem and ghazal and make songs. This is really, really traditional. But I remember 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the people forget the traditional culture and art in Afghanistan. But then, in these 20 years, especially after 2010, when some professional artists come back to Afghanistan, they research about that traditional arts.
Oh, very good.
Then they understood this is really powerful. After that, they wrote some article about that. They published a book. They make some report and publish on media. So then, the traditional art and new type of art connect. Some people, they mix.
I see, how interesting.
Yeah, so it was very interesting for young generation and old generation as well for different people. I mean, in Afghanistan, for example, Hazara people, they have special traditional art. Uzbek people as well, they have special and different traditional art. Pashtun people, the Tajik people, all people in Afghanistan, they have it's really, really amazing. It's really amazing. Like when you go to different places in Afghanistan, you see the different nature. I mean, the traditional art also is really different. You can enjoy with that, and it's really, really powerful. But the Taliban also not agree with traditional art as well. So totally, they said the art is haram. Singing and music, art, film, all haram. The first time in 2096 and 21, they also was not agree with media like with TV. They destroyed the TV, and but this time they interview with on TV.
Yes,
like
they've
it's
become
little change.
Very media savvy now.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of interviews and everything. So.
Yeah.
But they use it for themselves.
Yesterday I read an article about the traditional artists in Afghanistan. especially the north area in Afghanistan. They leave and go to Tajikistan or Uzbekistan. All artists, the new artists and the traditional artists, all of them try to leave Afghanistan because their life is directly under danger, and also they cannot do any art right now during the Taliban rule in Afghanistan.
Right. Let's talk about your professional career development as an artist in Afghanistan. So you graduated, from Kabul University in 2004.
Yeah.
How did you then build a career? Because obviously, the Taliban had fallen by then, but still, as you said, it was a society that didn't really value art because of so many years of, having that destruction of art, and also I think the desperation of trying to rebuild after war.
Yeah.
People, may not see what kind of contribution art can give to rebuilding of society. How did you then develop your career? How did you find a path and, build a very successful career as a writer, as an artist? Please share that with us.
Sure, thank you so much. My father really supported me. My father, now he is old, but he also cannot read and write. I remember when I was a child, he supported me. He don't know what type of book, but he bought the book and bring it home and said, please read this book.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, because he knows the challenge of if someone cannot read and write. This is so difficult. And my uncle was very great mullah, and but he was very open mullah and support another culture, another knowledge as well. I didn't know when I was studying in school in my place. I didn't know about art. Just I heard that program in BBC radio. We call New Life. I was a child. It's some characters and some story. It was very, very. I was very interested with that story. Then I have the picture of that actors in my mind. And I dream can I see some days that actors and characters real in front of my face and eyes.
Yeah.
But finally, I was a writer of that program.
Amazing.
Yeah, New Life in BBC. But it was very difficult because when I was studying in Faculty of Fine Arts, many people use very bad words for me. But my father supported and said, "Please, my son, go and study in university. University is university. That's for knowledge." He gave me a very good motivation. After that, I did my education in Kabul University with my father supporting. And when I finished my study, but my thinking on that time was very different. Like my other friends, what they follow the teacher told. But I talked more, and because for artists, you are open and you can bring some change. It's not like math formals.
Yes, exactly.
So, but at that time I talked more, and it was very useful for me, and many people accept my idea. The first time it was not easy. It was not easy, but slowly, then I found that way how I should write, because every writers have style. I also, when I was writer in Afghanistan, I also had a style. I didn't write for myself. I wrote for people, for community, for society. I received something, some idea from society, and write and give back to society. That's why the people accept and follow what I wrote in Afghanistan.
Right. What kind of ideas? What were the types of issues that you were, or stories, that made you feel you wanted to write about them and share them through your work?
Actually, I had a teacher in BBC. The first I remember he told me, if you want to be a good writer, you must have pen and paper every day, anywhere you go, in the bazaar, market, at home, everywhere. Because the people give idea to you. And it's better you must note and write. It was very useful for me. Sorry, I forget the question.
Yeah, so, you know, what were the types of stories that you were, you know, noticing around you that made you feel you wanted to capture them and, you know, relate these stories to your art?
Yeah, I think it's very, very important the writer knows about the details of culture and, I mean, in society and people. So every community have some challenges and problems, especially in Afghanistan, the women and girls, they have very, very different challenges. So every time I had to speak with women and interview with them and research, and I went to jail. I went to Kabul University. I went to safe house. The lady stay there. And many centers, I went and just they spoke with me and gave idea. After that, when I come to the office, I changed their speaking, the drama radio, and also some report, and some radio program like for educated them. And also some article also I wrote and published on Afghanistan media. And then I wrote some article as well in many websites they publish. And yeah, I mean, I had experience about different type of writing. But the main type of writing for me, it was radio drama. Radio drama.
Like the one you heard as a child.
Yes, yes. So it was really professional radio drama. Like now I think it's 32 years old, that drama.
My goodness, long time.
Yeah, many award from its international award. And 75 actors, characters that drama have. And now some characters growing up on the drama and they died, and the new generation come. It's totally real life. When we wrote the drama, it was very difficult for me the first time, because our teacher told when we use the word, we must have like answer why I use this word.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, it's very sensitive and very, very strong.
For every word.
For every word.
Wow, yes.
Yeah, for every message. It's like for drama, we cannot give message directly to audience.
Sure.
Like you must show. Yeah, the important thing in that radio drama, my teacher told we must show with radio. The first time I think it's not possible, because with radio just for listening, but talking was correct. Then we make a space on the drama, and like everything was very real. And when the audience listen the drama, they believe, oh, it's something happened, physical happened.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting drama in Afghanistan and published by BBC. Yeah, 8 years I wrote radio drama on BBC Radio.
So interesting, Saleh. And then can you talk a little bit about your experience in theatre as well? Because you then started to also write plays and direct theatre in Afghanistan, and now you do the same here. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, thank you, Lilianne. Yes, I learned the theatre in Kabul University, but the new method like we call Augusto Boal methodology. This is very strong and powerful method for conversation, for education, for change, and to know each other. So this is very new and very powerful method. In 2010, 11 and 12, my teacher named Kayhan Irani, she is from US. She is the Augusto Boal student, and very kind, very kind. She came to BBC Radio to train the Afghan theater group. So I was her assistant. the first time it was very confusing method for me. I think it's not working. When I see the Afghan challenge, but slowly I know the details. After that, oh, it's very strong. It's very strong. It's very different. I mean, the writing for foreign theater and classic theater and another type of theater. It's very difficult.
How is it different?
Yeah. Like for another theater, you're more open. You can change the story. You can growing up, and the story you can go ahead whatever you like. It's like what do you think in your mind? You can write. But in the foreign theater, in the theater of the oppressed, you must write according the community situation. Like we have an oppressed character and non-oppressed character, and according the research, according the information you receive from the community, you must write. You cannot add anything from your mind. If you want to add just, the technical things, or for just make and use a noise words like that. But the main issue about the foreign theater, when you want to write, it's like have a formal, like a way. Like you start from here and go up and come down, then you must finish with big question.
A question.
Yes, with big question. It's on this way, the storyline is something happened between characters. It's very special. Have a special storyline. The big question for what? For attend the participants, for solve the challenge, give a solution. That's for that.
I see.
Yeah.
And you actually did have the opportunity to direct, right? To write plays according to this methodology and actually direct theater in Afghanistan.
When I was the Kaihan's assistant, after every workshop, we made a show. I was also part of that workshops. And after that, in 2014, 15, and 16, sometime I took a theater project with from some NGO, and design the project and make a theater and show, especially about the women's rights, about the girls, about the education, about the election and democracy, something about new value in Afghanistan.
What was the impact? Like how was this type of theater accepted? Number one, by your audience, but number two, by groups like the Taliban, because of course, even though the Taliban fell, they were still around, and you yourself were directly threatened by them for your work. Could you talk about that? And what led you to then move from Afghanistan?
So because this methodology is for change, the Taliban cannot accept, and they are not agree with any change. They want the Afghan society must follow what they said. So for now, no one cannot make theater and perform theater. This is totally shut down in Afghanistan. But before the Taliban, the situation of art and theater was very good. Especially some theater group, they follow the wall methodology and go to different places and village and province, and they perform the theater. So this type of theater really solve the gap between stage and audience.
Right.
Many people, they attend and give solution. And one thing about some people, they was oppressed in Afghanistan, they lost the part of body, or they lost the member of family.
Oh dear, yes.
But the Afghan parliament, they once said, oh, okay, no problem. After that, they no any judge about that. But one group of theater, they collect the story, the real story, and perform the theater about that issue.
I see.
The people give solution, and they sign very, very long letters, like more than 10,000 people signed. They said, we are not agree with this thing, Parliament.
I see.
After that, that theater group sent a letter to United Nations, US Embassy, Afghan government, Parliament, and media. After that, they stopped the process of that law.
So they really were having an impact.
Yeah,
on,
yeah. I mean, it's very impact, especially for Afghan ladies. I remember many ladies that theater group. They follow this methodology. They support directly the ladies. Some lady, they lost the right, they lost the family, they was alone, they no any house and space. So they was in a safe house, but the self-confidence and motivation was zero. Then the theater group I also found them and bring them and did some workshop with them, and they played some role as well.
How interesting.
I remember in the
Yes, go ahead.
Farang culture, we call Istiklal school in Kabul. We had perform one of the actors. He was really oppressed lady, but before theater he was really hopeless and very shy and scared from especially the men. When he did her role, very powerful. After that, she said, I want to change my, what call is come from our eyes?
Tears?
Yeah, to energy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's very powerful.
She was really oppressed. On that day, she found job. One NGO, like she worked on the kitchen. It was very good for her. So many impact I saw and I heard.
So it was really transformative.
Yeah.
I think as a final question, just to understand your move to Malaysia and why you moved to Malaysia, how. Of course, I know your story, but we'd like to share that with the audience who are listening and watching. And then how you basically also took your art and this determination, to use art as a means for transformation, social transformation, here to Malaysia as well, even though it has been very difficult for you to come here as a refugee. Maybe we, can ask this as a final question to hear your story about that.
Yeah, thank you, Lilianne. Why I leave my country? Actually, I really love Afghan art, culture, and people, and also I know many people they need support in Afghanistan. But when I work with the BBC, my life was not secure. I had a security problem by Taliban. They wrote my name in blacklist, and it was very dangerous for me and for my family. And I didn't stay because no opportunity. Then I came to India. It was very difficult come to Malaysia. If you don't want trip, you don't leave your country, but you live, this is really difficult. When I came to Malaysia in 2016, my family situation was really bad. Our money finished at that time. I didn't know anyone in Malaysia. I didn't have any job. I didn't have any income. So my children was really sick every week, every day.
And they were so small at the time.
Yeah, very small. And myself and my wife is like full of depression and stress. Then the first question I asked from myself, what can I do for myself? What can I do for my family, for my community, and for all refugees in Malaysia? Because all of us have role. Because I feel on that time as well, but refugees no have right to work. But I feel I'm a part of this community, this society. I should do something useful and for people, for myself. After that, I went to my background and designed the Parasto Theater. The first time, Kaihan and Gotoni Foundation, you especially, thank you so much, helped Parasto. I cannot forget that time.
Yeah, I don't forget it.
I was not sure about the impact on that time. I was not sure. When we joined to Refugee Festival in 2017,
Your first performance
yeah,
in Malaysia.
I saw the effect, the impact the audience said to all of us, congratulations.
It was so powerful.
Yeah. Then I know, oh, yeah, it's working, so it's better we continue. Here in Malaysia also, like we did perform about the child marriage, the better taste of history. Also it was the refugee story about domestic violence, about something about refugee. So for me, it's the refugee story and their country story is similar because they come with their story
That's right.
to Malaysia. They bring their story, and here also they have some challenge. So sometimes we can mix the story and show and perform. In Malaysia, it's not easy. It's not easy because here is many challenge. Like sometimes I cannot focus. In Afghanistan, every day I wrote, every day. But in Malaysia, sometimes we have project and I need to write. Sometimes no project, no like during the pandemic is totally shut down everything. Like now I'm thinking I forget my writing, but I really need to start again and do something like art and theater.
Yes. Well, hopefully there'll be more opportunities for you to write now that things are starting to open up again.
Yes.
But also I think, you know, it's really wonderful what you've been able to create here in Malaysia throughout your very difficult but extremely powerful journey. You know, your work in Afghanistan and how you brought that spirit to your work here. I definitely, you know, would like to urge anyone who's watching or listening to try to catch your next performance, and we're looking forward to when you have the next performance and your plays in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Lilianne. The last thing I want to say for I really try when I want to write something. I don't write for myself, and also what they want the community. So this is important. According that, I should write. And also for me it's very important, like if we show something with writing, the audience don't forget in long term, in long term. And if they forget, I mean the writing, the performance don't have any power. It's difficult, but it's possible. Because if we write for our community, if you know about the pain of people, if you know about the challenge of people, I think this is easy. It's easy. It's, some writers, as I respect them, but they just play with words and show the power. What is like, I know many hard words, and they just show their power. But they don't write for people, for community. But when I want to write is. I really try to write a very honest and very easy. What is the language of community? What is the language of people? What is the challenge? According to that, I wrote.
It's almost like being, you know, not just a writer, but also an anthropologist in some way.
Yes,
you know, you study people, you study their stories, and you reflect it back through your art.
Yes, exactly.
It's really wonderful to be able to have this conversation with you, Saleh.
Thank you so much.
You know, we've really learned so much from you. And we are really looking forward to a time when we can all see Paris 2 Theatre perform again.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me in Georgetown Literary Festival. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saleh.
Thank you.
Thank you.